Loads of things have been said in the media, on social media, but nowadays it's really hard to see what is real and what isn't. So I have invited the CEO of the Australian Jewish Association and a Palestinian-born Australian to have a conversation and figure out what is really going on. In this first episode, I'm going to be talking to Chris, the Palestinian-born Australian, to hear his side of the story. All right, hello and welcome to the Maxy V podcast. I am here with Chris. Chris, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. I believe you wanted to start off.
I'm proud that I'll be here with you nice people, doing great job. And I would like to say a few things.
Yeah.
One of them is that we are here on earth as Christians, Muslims, and Jews, and we are all human beings. The Jewish faith have the 10 commandments, and they don't follow it. Some of them they do. I love Jews, I love Christians, I love Muslims. I'm a human being. I'm a peaceful man. But what's happening in the world now is the Zionist organization is not following the 10 commandments by destroying countries, doing what they are doing. Everybody can see on TV. The other thing I want to say that the Zionist organization has created the United Nations and they finance them. The ICJ, the International Court of Justice, all these organizations, they make decisions and they do things and they put them on paper. No action. How come? Why nobody is doing straight and say, stop killing each other, have peace. And to have peace in the world at the moment, as Jesus said when he was in Jerusalem, is that Palestine should be introduced back. The United Nations, 1948, voted to change the name, and that was the biggest mistake following Mr. Balfour of Britain.
Change the name from what to what, sorry?
From Palestine to Israel. The land should be Palestine, and they are welcome. And they used to, the Palestinian, my grandfather was there. He used to have business with the Jewish, I would say, I respect them, in Tel Aviv. The Jewish man used to import stuff, clothing and material from England and from Europe. And my granddad used to buy from him and sell it to the people around, in the town. Why we can't live like that? Why they planned to change it? Why they put on the coin Eretz Israel in front of Palestine? They know that it's Palestine. Why they changed it?
Well, that is what we're here to talk about today. Yeah, as we mentioned before we started recording, I also am interviewing a Jewish person, and I want to my role in this to be sort of neutral, to get the conversation going. So I'm going to ask you similar questions to which I will ask the Jewish person, just to get both of your answers, try and keep it fair, and go from there. So let's start with an easy question. I think you are aware of the fact that Donald Trump is going to be president of the United States again. Do you think that will have an impact on the war in Israel and Palestine? And if so, in what way?
Mr. Donald Trump, he will make it worse.
You think?
Last year, he said to Israel to make them happy because they are his boss. He said to Israel, take over Jerusalem, take the Golan Heights. And he said lately, he will make hell in the area if they don't make peace. What peace he wants is that Israel control from the Nile to the Forat.
You think so, yeah?
That's what he thinks. Not him, the Zionist organization above him.
Before he always said, like, if I was president, this whole Russia and Ukraine thing wouldn't have happened, the Israel Palestine thing wouldn't have happened. And when he was president, there were no wars in the world, or they started after he was gone. So yeah, that's why I was wondering what you were thinking.
Yeah, but yeah, he said there shouldn't be any wars, but he gave Israel Jerusalem, and he took the embassy, American embassy, to Jerusalem, and he gave the Golan. Is that war or not?
Yeah, you would say so. Okay, well, that's a clear answer. And we talked about before what happened in Syria, like that happened in the last couple of days. What do you think of that? Because a lot of people say, oh, now Syria is free, but who will now take over is the question.
Syria never have been free. Syria was controlled by Russia for many years. And what's his name? He could have, when the 7 October started in Palestine, the Syrian government, the Palestinian used to say, please, don't close your eyes, your time will come. They were talking, the leaders of the Palestinian organizations or groups, they were trying to enlighten the Arab countries to wake up. Please wake up, they tell them. Your turn will come and they will do what they're doing to us. And nobody did anything. Even Saddam, he was sitting down in his palace, putting people against his ideas into prison, underground, whatever. It's on TV now. I know for sure what group he is from because I have experience. One of my nephews was going to Syria to attend the wedding of his brother. But his brother was going to get married to a Syrian girl. And they took him. And we heard that they changed the name and they disappeared. So for the Jordanian government, via the ambassador in Syria, he did something that he asked the government to release him back to Jordan. So we know that Assad was not a leader. He was a dictator or a killer, a criminal, like Netanyahu.
Yeah, but yeah, so he's gone now. But that's the question, like who will now take over? Because yeah, if it's another bad group of people, then it's only gonna get worse.
From what I can see, they say that there are about 30 groups.
Yeah,
or so, I can't remember. Some people say 26, 30, 40, whatever groups. And these groups, they only work for their pocket.
Yeah.
When you see them on TV and they see the aeroplanes coming from Israel bombing the area, they can do nothing. They like children at school, these people. So Syria will never be controlled now other than Israel.
All right. Another thing I want to talk about is the mainstream media. I have an example from the Netherlands, where I'm from. I'm not sure if you've heard about it. It was a soccer game a couple of weeks ago, or maybe now a month ago or so. It was between Ajax Amsterdam and Maccabi Tel Aviv from Israel. And in the media, a day later, it showed that they had headlines like Muslim youth attacking Jews, Moroccans attacking Jews in the streets, all these headlines. But then a couple of days later, all these videos show up from people who were documenting it from the beginning to the end, what happened. And it was actually the Maccabi fans who started, ripping off Palestinian flags from houses, singing these songs about killing Jews or Muslims or whatever. And then the Muslims, or whatever you want to call them, the pro-Palestina side, they retaliated. But in the media, it only showed the Jews being attacked. Why do you think that is? And why do you think the mainstream media would make it look like it was the Jews who were attacked instead of them being the instigator?
Well, we all know the media, most all over the world, is pro-Israel.
Yeah, well, why do you think that is?
Because they are financed by them. They are financed. Al Jazeera, they stopped Al Jazeera from going to Palestine. They are very powerful, as I said before. The Zionist organization is very powerful, and they can do everything to destroy the world and do what they want. So what happened there was they do the same thing. Like, I give example. 1947, if I may I?
Of course.
Yeah, in 1947, they put a bus full of Jews going from Jaffa, I believe, to Jerusalem, and they bombed it. And it was proved that they did it. The Haganah and the Jewish army, whatever, the Israeli army. And they blamed the Palestinians. Oh, look, they killed our people. They did this. So the media is always with them. Yeah. Especially in Australia. In Australia, for the last 50, 60 years, we beg the media to put a little advertisement in the newspaper or the TV. And they say, and we pay $5,000, whatever, when the money was valuable, not like now. And they say, no, we can't. No, we can't. When they put a full page on Palestine, on Israel, Israeli man killed by a Palestinian man. A Palestinian man drove his car and killed two Israelis. They don't show how many children are killed in the West Bank. They have no weapon. They controlled by Israel, by Israeli army. If you talk any language other than food and business, they take you to prison. 9,000 or 10,000 people are in prison, and they treated worse than Saddam treated his prisoners. And nobody talk about that. How many people we saw on TV, they dying, sorry to say the word, from cancer, and they leave them in prison, not take them to the hospital. And that's the media.
Yeah. I'm going to ask now some questions. You know, like I said, I'm trying to be neutral because I'm also interviewing a Jewish person, so I try to be neutral. But the October 7th attacks, now obviously that was a very bad thing to happen. I'm sure you agree with me. So obviously when a country gets attacked like that, they're gonna retaliate. Yeah, how do you feel about that? Because obviously now it's been very long time and it's been continuous, but initially, how did you feel like Israel should have reacted to what happened on October 7th?
This question, I appreciate you ask me this question. You great man, because I was waiting for that. You said how Israel retaliated. Who is to retaliate? The Palestinian or the Israeli? The October 7 was a retaliation of the Palestinian being in prison for 100 years. 100 years they were in prison. In Gaza, 14 years. They can't go in and out. And they closed the borders to Egypt. And you saw on TV what they do to the Gazan people. So who's to retaliate? So that's the question, brother. Is that who's to retaliate? The Israelis retaliate. The October 7 was a disaster. At the beginning, I said, we follow the 10 Commandments. Don't kill. We don't want anybody to be killed. We want peace. As I said in the beginning, we want peace in the area. We don't want Jews to be killed because they have family, they have children. We know that. I don't want to see my family or my children. But what happened at that time, they were under the pressure. If they say that if you put a cat in a corner, it will jump and bite you. So the Palestinians retaliated, not the Israelis.
All right. Yeah, obviously the other side thinks different.
Of course.
Of course.
That's normal.
Yeah.
Because to show the world.
But so, you know, they claim there's still hostages, which I think is a fact, that there are still hostages from the Israeli side in Gaza. And that's the Israeli, you know, viewpoint, that they want to get the hostages back. And if they don't get them back, they keep attacking. So, yeah, what do you think should happen? Like, how should they react now? Because, again, it's been a long time. Like in the beginning, when it just happened, me as a neutral viewer that didn't have a lot of knowledge on Israel Palestina at the time, I was like, yeah, they attacked Israel, 1,200 to 1,500 people died. This is what I see as a neutral viewer. So of course they're gonna react. But then after a couple of weeks, it's like, okay, but where is this going? Because yeah, it's been, again, 1,200 to 1,500 on the Israeli side that died that day, but now the numbers in Gaza, I believe, are above 30, 40,000 people killed. So where does it end? How do you see this? Where do you see this going?
It should end. Now, how many decisions have been made by United Nations, by the International Court of Justice, by Biden, Mr. Biden himself? He said this war needs to stop, but it doesn't stop. This war needs this Zionist aggression. They know, now they know, because the whole world now, they understand and they know that the reason for this is that they took my grandfather's house. And I will not live until I see, if I can live that long, that this land become back to Palestine and everybody, Christians, Muslims and Jews, live in peace like brothers and sisters, like we live in Australia here.
Yeah.
In Australia, we are a lucky country and we live peacefully. We have many, you know, my neighbor is Jewish. And
that's another question I wanted to ask you. Because on the Palestine side, you hear a lot of people speaking about the apartheid in Israel, because there is still, I believe, 20% of the population is Arab. Do you know about how they live together in Israel? What do you think of people calling it apartheid in Israel?
As to that, I have relations. I have family.
In Israel?
In Israel.
Yeah.
In Lidda, in Ramle, in Yafa. I have relatives, they live there.
Yeah, and so how do they feel about living there?
When I before, some of them used to say, I shouldn't say that, I rather live with the Jews. I'm happy to be living with the Jews because they give us work, they give us this. But after the 7th of October, they can, if they speak Arabic, because they speak Arabic, they look at them. They like hate look at them. Yeah. So they afraid. They under the pressure.
Okay, and this is obviously, you say, after the
7th of October.
And how is it before that?
It was, like I said, most of them, when I talked to them over the phone, or I went to visit few times there, and I talked to them about how you live with the Jews. Yeah, they say they are beautiful people. I say, yeah, they are beautiful people. But they took you to your father's land. Now you are living in another house. Your father's house is there, isn't it? Which is true. And, you know, their values, they especially the young ones, because they deal with them, they live with them, like we used to do that before 1948 with my grandfather. He used to love them. And my mother and everybody, they used to invite them for weddings, for dinner, for, you know, we live on top of each other. But now, after the 7th of October, the Israeli government have a plan to kick all the Palestinians, to make sure that they get angry and they leave to Jordan, to Syria, to Lebanon, or to Egypt.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, because again, I'm an outsider and I hear people speaking about apartheid in Israel. And then I think to myself, if that is the case, why are they there? Because if I would live in a country where, you know, everybody's trying to kick me out, then I would leave. I would rather go live with, in that case, my Arab, you know, people. But they stay there. So then obviously that must mean that they have a better life there than they would have in an Arab country. Do you agree?
Not really, because the people who left sounded like they have more freedom. Like my grandfather, my father, my family, all relatives, they went to Jordan after they killed 400 people in a mosque in Lidda. So they had to go away. Not like now, they say, no, we won't leave in Gaza.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, the Palestinians lived like freely in Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, more freely than the ones inside, because they give them an ID and they put 2, which means they are second, not first. The Jews are first and the Palestinians are second. And how they treat them was, if you want to go to university, you're not allowed. If you go to the army, you're not allowed as a Palestinian. Yeah.
You mentioned that you visited Israel?
Many times.
Yeah,
3
many times. And when you got to Israel, how was the border security being Arab? Like, did they treat you differently, or was it hard to get in the country?
Yes, it was hard to get into the country. And I give you one good example. A friend of mine, he was Palestinian, and he lived in Tel Aviv. He was a motor mechanic, and he knew Hebrew. So he was in Jordan as refugee. He went to come to visit Jaffa. His relatives were there. On the border, they kept him 4, 5, 6 hours. He got sick of it. So he went to the office of the top man and the top officer, army officer, and he went inside, sat on a chair, and he saw a packet of cigarette. And he took one cigarette. He didn't smoke, but he wanted to play a game, which I'm going to say. He took a cigarette, took the lighter, and to put the cigarette in his mouth and light it up, and put the lighter in his small pocket. The army officer, the high-ranking officer, he said to him, "This is my lighter." He said, "Oh, my friend, this is my lighter." The Palestinian saying to the Israeli, "This is my lighter." It's true story. And they started shouting because the army officer, it's his lighter. And he's right. But the Palestinian was quietly saying, no, this is my lighter. Then the army from outside came in, hearing the noise. They said, "What's happening, boss?" He said, "He took my lighter." He said, "Hey, this is your lighter. This is my country, and you're making me wait here 6 hours. And you're not letting me go in, and you worry about your lighter?"
Yeah, trying to make a point.
Is that a good example?
I would say so.
I went there, and with my wife, she had jewelry on her hand. One of the security officers there on the border between Jordan and Palestine, he came, he said, "Why you didn't claim the jewelry? I need to take them." So, because we wanted to go in, because her family there, her mom, my wife's mom, my wife lived until 67 in Palestine, and she knew Hebrew. And she lived in Ramle, called a place called Ramle, next to Tel Aviv, next to Lidda. He took the jewelry from her and he went inside. We were waiting about half hour, 45 minutes, 1 hour. Then I realized that he's not going to come back. So I said to my wife, "You shout in Hebrew and I shout in English." And we started saying, "The man stole our jewelry," in English, and my wife in Hebrew. One of the top security came, army officer, he came, "What's wrong?" A short man, I don't know where his name is. He took my wife. He said, "No, it's all right. So stop shouting." I said, "No, I'm not going to stop shouting until you bring my wife's jewelry." And he did.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's good. But you mentioned talking in English and Hebrew. You think because that would have a better effect than doing it in
That's
Arabic?
right.
Yeah.
Because they don't want people to hear it.
Yeah.
Because they were visitors from all over the world.
Yeah. All right. That's a cool story.
Oh yeah, well, many stories, brother. I can tell you.
Yeah, I can tell. That's good. That's what we're here for. I was going to ask. We talked about the situation in Gaza. Why aren't more Arabic countries accepting refugees? Because, for example, Egypt has a border with Gaza, but they closed off the border. They're not letting them in. Why do you think that is?
Because they don't want to create more refugees and stay outside the country for 70 years now, like me. I'm outside Palestine for 75 years, from 48 till now. And if I want to go there, they give me a hard time. I cannot go there and whatever. So they don't accept them. Plus, the Palestinians, they were refugees. These Palestinians in Gaza, they were refugees from Lidda, from Ramle, from Jaffa, and they went to Gaza. And they know the feeling or the life that they suffered, the pain they had being a refugee, relying on UNRWA. Israel stopped supplying UNRWA. Anyway, see what I mean? So by doing this, the people said, "We're not leaving." And the Arabs supported them. They said, "No, we're not taking them." So they dying, children, women, everybody dying. They say, "We rather die than leave." If I was there now, I'd do the same thing. Because I know the feeling of being a refugee in another country. And I give example, brother, if I may.
Of course.
Yeah. I can't remember exact the year. I was 6 years old or 5 years old. Someone killed King Abdullah, the grandfather of the king now.
In where, sorry?
In Jerusalem.
Okay, yeah.
He was praying and someone shot him. And they said the Palestinian killed him. And what happened? All the Jordanian people, they went around in Jordan and knocked at the doors of the Palestinians where they living in tents or sheds or whatever. They beat them, they hit them, they whatever, things to do. Because we were living with the family in one room, and this family, the lady was a single lady, her husband passed away. She told her son, he was 19 years old, his name was Jafar, I remember that. She said to him, I was 6 years, she said to him, stand on the door, and if anyone from the people come to hurt us, to hurt my family, stop them. And he did. So the Jordanians were trying to kill the Palestinian because they heard from Israel, from the media, that the Palestinian killed King Abdullah in Jerusalem. Do you remember the story, or you don't know it?
I did a lot of research. I tried to, be prepared, but I have not heard of this story, no.
Yeah.
To get back in the what I asked before, why aren't more Arab countries letting in refugees? Again, I'm trying to be neutral and on the Israeli side in this one to get some questions. But so what someone from this side would now say is that in the past there have been Arab countries that would accept refugees, but then it would end up badly. For example, they would support Saddam Hussein, who was a dictator. In Egypt, the Israelis would say that the Palestinians that were accepted as refugees, they misbehaved and, did certain things like, because you're gonna start a terrorist group or whatever. What would you say to that?
No, brother.
Yeah.
And I give you a very good example.
I hope so.
Arafat, for some reason, he collected lots of Palestinian, and he got them weapons, and he was in Jordan, and I was in Jordan, and I was a bank officer, and he collected them, and he became strong in Jordan. That's what they're talking about. The refugees that left to other countries, they became strong, or they supported the country they lived in, or whatever. So they used to cross the border and bomb Tel Aviv and bomb, areas like that. The Israeli government at the time said to King Hussein is gone. God save his soul. Oh my God. Anyway, they said to him, if you don't collect all the weapons from the Palestinian hands, we're going to make Jordan desert. So what he did, he straight away went to Egypt to meet Abdel Nasser. Abdel Nasser was president of Egypt. And he said, I have a problem. And Israel wants to destroy Jordan, which they can. They are powerful. And they do it. What do I do? He said, I give you 2 weeks. Go back and bring your army inside the towns and collect the weapons. I was there. And they started to come in, the tanks and the army, the Jordanian army, very strong. They believe God, number one, number two, King Hussein. So they came in, they started to collect the weapon, they couldn't. It took them 2 weeks, no success. The third week, because the Jordanian army started to kill people, they went to hospital and they killed some people. He said, I need to stop. So he went back to Egypt to talk to Abdel Nasser. He took with him fingers of babies where the Jordanian army cut them in his pocket. And he put them in front of Abdel Nasser. King Hussein was there. They were all sitting, the three of them. When Abdel Nasser saw the fingers, he got angry and he said, the meeting is finished. I'm going home. He went home, he passed away, heart attack at that time. They went back to Jordan, both of them, King Hussein and Arafat. And Arafat said, for the sake and for the safety of the Jordanian and Palestinian people, I want to take my men and leave to Syria. So he went and collected his men into an area called Jarash. At night time, 20,000 people killed by Jordan. Aeroplane bombed them and killed them. So what they're saying is not true.
All right.
No, it's not true.
No, that's why I'm asking you.
Or maybe what they're saying this is they are afraid that what happened to Arafat will happen again. That the Palestinians will rebuild themselves like they rebuilt themselves in Lebanon. They are powerful in Lebanon, the Palestinians. And they are powerful all over the world, I promise you. All over the world, the Palestinian will never stop until the Palestine come back. In Australia, America, wherever they are, because it's in their heart.
And how do you think that will happen? Because I was going to also ask you about Hamas. What do you think about Hamas? Because they were elected, so they claim, democratically. But obviously, there's been situations education, health, whatever, they put it towards terrorism or whatever you want to call it, making weapons and stuff. How do you see? What are your thoughts on Hamas in general at first?
Hamas is a group of people, like you said, they spend the money on education. The Gazan people are very, very, very well educated. Doctors, engineers, you name it. They're very well educated. They send them overseas to Europe, to Russia especially, they used to. And they built this because of what I said to you. They were under the pressure. They were under pressure. Hamas was under pressure. It's not only Hamas. There is about 8 or 9 groups. One of them is one Dr. George Habash created. And then they asked him to leave to Syria. King Hussein, tell him, go and leave to Syria. The group of all doctors and engineers. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm asking is, how do you see, without, even if the war wouldn't be there, and Hamas was in control, how do you think that Palestine will improve? Because obviously now it's a terrible place to live. How do you think they can get rid of Hamas or get some kind of government where the government works for the people instead of, using the people? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but with the election, you said the word. I apologize what I'm going to say. You said they claim they won the election.
Yeah, because I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I have not enough knowledge on the thing because a lot of people say it's not.
If I may correct that, if I may, when the election happened, I can't remember how many years ago.
I think it was 2006.
God bless you. You're right. 2006, there was election for Palestine, Gaza, and West Bank. And Mr. Carter from America went to Palestine, to both areas, and attended the election system. And when he went back, when the Gaza, Hamas won, Haniya, I think it was, he won the election to be a leader of Palestine instead of what's his name now. So he went back to America. He said, I haven't seen more real and true election. It's true and real. Now, what happened after that? The world, especially Israel and the Zionists, they want Hamas or the leader who won to recognize Israel. He said, no way. I will never recognize Israel like Abbas now.
That's another question I was going to ask you.
See, that's the reason. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Because, like I said, I did a lot of research. And there has been, they have tried to figure out some kind of peace treaty a couple of times. I believe it was 48, more recent in the early 2000s, I think, where, they would try and give Palestine a certain amount of land, Israel a certain amount of land, and be like, okay, can we have peace now? And Israel often was like, yeah, this sounds good, but it's the side of Palestine that always said, no, we don't agree to this. So if you just look at it that way, then you would say it's Palestine who are the ones that don't want peace. How do you look?
Oh my God.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
No, let me. What they do, it started with the British government.
I agree.
They went to the leader of Palestine before 1948, and they said that in 2-3 months we're going to finish our colonization or whatever you call it. 3 months it was at the time. You want us to leave, or and the Jews will take over? You live all right with the Jews? And he said to them, yeah, okay, you can leave. And when they changed the thing, when they changed the name, they came to the Palestinian and said to them, you want to make peace and take this land? They said, but they took most of the land from us. How do you want us to make peace? And they go from around and they say to them, say no. They play games, all these British and American politicians. Yeah. And I give you a good example about that, if I may.
Of course.
They went to Saddam Hussein. The ambassador of America went to Saddam and said, go and have a fight with Iran for 10 years, for whatever, and the Arab countries will pay for your expenses. And he did for 10 years. After the war finished, the ambassador went to him and said, go and collect money from Kuwait. The ambassador of America to Kuwait said to the Kuwaiti government, don't pay him. And it was proved. Then they said to us, okay, take over Kuwait. And he took over Kuwait, you remember? And there was a big fight. Then America and Europe and everybody went to Saddam and destroyed Iraq. So they played the game, and they played this game with the Palestinian leaders at the time. And they said to them, don't do that. Don't accept. It's not right. You need this, you need that. So it wasn't them. Yeah. And how sorry to say, if someone come and take your house, sorry to say that, and then I come to you and say, he's taking your house, right? And you are out. Can you come and make peace with the man who took your house?
Yeah.
How do you make peace with the man or the people who took your house?
Yeah, if you put it that way, obviously, yeah.
Yeah, or take half of it and say to you, okay, accept half of it. How do you do that? How do you accept? Is that answer my question, your question?
Yeah, that's, your opinion, definitely, of course. What was I going to say? No, what we were talking about... America's influence, and that's what I, as an outsider, as someone who's trying to be neutral, what I found when looking into this, I feel like this whole thing is instigated by England, because they were like promising the Arabs certain things, but they were also promising Israel certain things.
God bless you.
And then as soon as it got too hot, then they were like, oh no, you know what? Well, we're out of here. You guys figure it out. And that's
God bless you. You're right. Yep.
Yeah, and in my lifetime, all these wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, it's all America that, in my opinion, just wants to have more power and money. There's a lot of protests now outside, pro-Israel or pro-Palestine. And there's a group, they call themselves Queers for Palestine, the LGBTQ community, the gay people and stuff, Queers for Palestine. What are your thoughts on that?
Is that the one that they go to Hyde Park?
Yeah, probably. I'm sure they went there as well.
Yeah, but these people, they go there to express their feeling and to tell the community of Australia what is Australia, which up till now, after 14 months, they haven't done anything other than tell the people. And some people, they understand it now, and they know.
Now, what I'm specifically asking is, because these are, obviously there's a lot of people that are pro-Palestine, but these guys are gay people, or however they identify. Queer is gay, basically.
No, I don't know about that.
Yeah, but that's, in my eyes, very strange, because whatever you want to say, it's in Islamic countries, they're not very accepting to gay people. I hope you can agree to that. So in my eyes, it's very weird to see these people be supportive of Palestine. I mean, you can be supportive for Palestine being gay. That's not the problem. But to show to the world, in the name of gayness, we support Palestine. It's very strange to me, because if they would do that in Palestine, they would get, in trouble, because they don't really like gay people.
I agree
over
with
there.
you.
Yeah, so that's
I agree with you.
okay. Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to ask questions to both sides.
No,
so.
I thought you talking about the group in Hyde Park. They're doing it every Sunday.
Oh, okay.
The
Pro-Palestine or
the Palestinian. They do rallies.
Yeah.
And I was there once and I spoke.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I stood on the microphone and I told people what happened to me when I was a baby and young, and how the leaving Palestine was so difficult. One of my aunties had 4 daughters and one boy, and she was walking from Lidda to Ramallah. On the way, she got tired. And she left her baby, 6 months old baby, on the street because she got tired. And she walked about 20 meters and she started crying and looked back. The baby was crying. Then she came back and took her. It was, people told me, not her, not my auntie. Her husband had a mother. His mother was about 80 years old. He couldn't carry her on his shoulder to take her to Jordan, to Ramallah. What he did, he put water and food next to her. He said, Mom, because the Arab countries say it will take 1 or 2 weeks and then we make peace. So he thought that he will go to Ramallah and then come back after 2 weeks. So he put water and bread next to her and said to her, Mom, I will be away for few days and then I'll come back. Then the lady died, and people passing the street, they smell, sorry to say, her body, sorry. And they told him, he sat down, old man. I saw him. He was crying his tears. His mom died when he's in Jordan. He couldn't bury her. How can we forget that? Never. And I'm telling everybody in my family, I have 14 great-grandchildren. I'm teaching them now. My grandchildren, they all know it. I have a great-granddaughter. She's 2.5 years. She come to me, say, Grandpa. But she said it in Arabic, Sido means Grandpa. Sido, we go to Palestine, which means to the rally. She want to come to the rally and clap and,
How old was she? 2, you said?
2 years, 2 years. And she loved it. She put the flag and the thing on her and she walk and she clap and she listened to the people.
Nice.
All of them. One day we were, about 12, 13 years ago, we were in the restaurant in the city. One of the big restaurants. Anyway, we were in the lift, and 2 of my grandchildren were about 10, 12. 2 ladies came in. They're visiting Australia. And she asked him, what's your name? He said, what's her name? You said, what's your background? Because she heard us speaking Arabic. One of them said, I'm Palestinian. One said, because her father Egyptian and her mother, my daughter, Palestinian. I have 5 daughters, Palestinian. She said, I'm half Egyptian, half Palestinian. And they were little children. Yeah.
5.
They proud, my children, all the children of Palestine, they proud to be Palestinian. And this will never die. The Israelis should understand. I wrote to them, but I don't know if it reached them. I said, please, try to understand where you do, what you're doing, where you come from. The Palestinians will never forget. And you know what you did. You took the land, you changed the name. The name is not Israel. Israel is a prophet name. It's not a land name. Israel is a prophet name, isn't it?
I was going to, Again, I'm trying to, be on the Israeli side today. Because they would say, if we give you the freedom, or if we let it slide and we try to make peace, then Israelis would say, but if we do that, they will attack us, or because they believe that that Muslims, that the Islam wants to get rid of all Jews. That's their idea. So what do you think about that? Do you think there's a truth in that? Like, do they want to eradicate the Jews?
I believe it's not, as I started in the beginning, it's not Islam or Christian or Muslim problem. It's a problem of a land.
Yeah.
It's a land. As Palestinian, it doesn't matter who you are. Even some Jews, they don't believe that the land should be named Israel. And I've seen rallies in America and Israel and everywhere in the world. They say we are Jews, and they come to Hyde Park. And we don't believe that the land should be Israel. Israel is the name of a prophet.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there is a lot of Jews that are pro-Palestine for sure.
Because they know the truth. And they say that if someone doesn't know the truth, he is a dumb devil. Sorry to say that.
That's all right.
So people should know the truth to be human. And I asked the Jews themselves, or not the Jews, sorry, because not all the Jews, the Israelis, to wake up to what they're doing and realize that what they do is wrong, and one day it will stop. It will finish. There's no choice.
I have one more good question, like coming from the Israeli side, because this could be a good argument for them. How come Muslims can live in basically any country? Like they come to Australia, they've come to America, they've come to the Netherlands. I think my city where I'm from, Rotterdam, is now the minority. White people are the minority. Like I think 60% is non-Western white. But in Islamic countries, you will not find any Jews anymore. Like there used to be Jews in Egypt. I don't think there's any left. There used to be Jews in... You can name a country, and they are all gone from Islamic countries. Why do you think that is then?
What a beautiful question. Thank you for that. These Jews who were in Iraq, in Syria, in Egypt, they were very strong, very powerful, very rich, most of them jewelers. And the Israeli government used to create problems, burn one shop to a Jewish man, and say, the Iraqi, they don't want to come to Israel. They did this to the Jews in France a few years ago. I don't know how many years, 2 years, 1 year. And they said to the French Jews, because they are rich, come to Israel. And the president was, I can't remember, maybe the same one who was now. He said to them, why you want to leave? You are living in good country, you have food, you live in you in peace, nobody annoying you. Why you want to leave? And they didn't leave. So the Jews that left from those countries, they were, and I saw on TV, some Jews, they came on TV, Iraqi Jews. They said, I'm Iraqi Jew. I was respected in Iraq. I regret I left Iraq.
All right.
So they left on their free, because of they were under pressure from the Zionist organization or the Israelis to go and live in. They want all the world, all the Jews in the world to go and live there. As the Bible, as God, I don't know which God is that, who says, you are going to control from the Nile to the Forat. You know, from the Nile.
That's, I reckon, what they mean when they say from the river to the sea.
No. From the Nile River in Egypt.
Yeah.
Which is in the desert of Egypt, to the Forat of Iraq. They want to control that. That's what they say God said to them. This is your land. Yeah, one rabbi said that we own Saudi Arabia.
To get this out of the way, because to be fair, I don't even know, and I think a lot of people that now yell this phrase "from the river to the sea" don't really know. What do they mean by "from the river to the sea"?
From the river? Jordan River,
the Jordan River,
to the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah. Okay,
which is Palestine.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to clear that up, because I think, especially nowadays, there's a lot of also, white people that are pro-Palestine. But when you question them, they often don't really know what they're talking about. Like, they would say this, from the river to the sea, but then you would ask them what river, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know. That's one of the things I try to do with this podcast, trying to make people more knowledgeable on the subject by interviewing you, by interviewing an Israeli person, because I think a lot of people nowadays, they just pick a side, but they don't really know what's actually going on.
Can I say example, please?
Of course.
Me and my wife, we went on Friday when they had the sale in Birkenhead Point.
Oh yeah.
And
what did you say? A sale, like a
sale, 50% discount.
Yeah.
So my wife took something. We went to the counter, and I was speaking to my wife in Arabic. The lady came to help us, to serve us, to take the money. And she looked at me first, and she said, "Where you come from? You have a strong accent." My wife straight away said to her, "Palestine." If you see, I should have took a photo of her to show you. The tears come to here.
Oh yeah.
He said, "I feel sorry for the Palestinian in Gaza. I see the children cut legs and hands." And I said to her, "Madam, where you come from?" She said, "I'm from Poland. And my family are very sorry. We hate to look at TV now because we start crying." This gave me the power that people like her, they know the story. They know the truth. And they cry. Believe you me, Brother Mark. One Irish man, he's 82. He told me, "I'm 82. I said to him, "I'm 80. Anyway, he said, "Where are you from? Please tell me." I said, "Holy Land." I make jokes sometimes. He said, "Jerusalem." I said, "No, Jerusalem is the capital of the Holy Land." "What's the name of the Holy Land? Please answer correctly." And they start thinking. And he thought. He said, "No, I don't want to answer." I said, "Palestine." He said, "Oh my God, I feel sorry for you people. I feel sorry for you people. They took their land. They took their house. You became refugee. You came to Australia." He knows the full story. He was Irish, sorry. Long live Ireland, because Ireland is supporting Palestine all the way.
Oh yeah, I think they do, huh? Because I will ask this to the other guy as well. Because I think a couple of days ago, I'm not sure who said it, but there was like a message for Jews outside of Australia to not come to Australia because they would be in danger. And, Jews feel like nowadays, after October 7th, they're targeted in the streets and people would, be aggressive or whatever. What do you think about that?
What a great question. Like all the questions. This brought me to answer this question, if I may start. Albanese and Madame Wong.
That's her name, yeah.
Recognized the state of Palestine. Of course, it's on paper.
Okay.
I recognize. What? They just say the word. They said to them, "No, the Jews in Australia." I say the Jews because they say we are the Jews. They said to them, "Why you do that? You change your policy. You changed all that." They said to them, Mrs. Wong said to them, "England did that. Canada did that. All countries in the world except America and Israel. That's why we recognize Palestine. We didn't do that before. We did that before many years, and it was on paper again. But now we do it. Now they got angry, and I believe, God forgive me if I'm wrong, what happened in Melbourne, because they did not find the doer. Who is the doer?
Who did it, you mean?
Who is the doer of this fire?
For the people that don't know what we're talking about, it's about
they claim, as they do all the time, the Palestinians, or the pro-Palestinian, or the Muslims. God help me.
So what do you think that happened? Again, sorry for the people watching this. There was a fire in a synagogue.
So the fire in the synagogue, they want to show the world that we are in fear, like what happened to them in Germany, the Holocaust. They put the whole world under their thumb. We've been treated badly. Please feel for us. Please give us food. Give us whatever. Now they want this to the Australian community to feel sorry for them. How they feel? Do you know if a Jewish man coming from Israel or from America to Australia, and if they come, do you feel it? Do you know? Nobody knows. So why? Who said that was, with all respect to him or her, is wrong. Because what they did is they tried to make division in the country.
You don't think that now, being a Jew, like say you where's there a lot of Arabs? I would say, for example, Lakemba, I think, is a very Arab suburb. Let's say you're there as a Jew and you walk around with your little kippah on. You don't think that people will call them names or say like, "Oh, you Jew"?
They may, yes, they may.
That was my question. What do you think of that?
They may not be happy with that. Some of them. And these people who are trying to annoy or not be happy with these Jewish people, if they have the kuppah on their head, they're not normal. They shouldn't do that.
Okay.
They shouldn't.
Okay.
No, we live in a country, as I said to you, I have neighbors, I have Jews, family, everywhere. We talk to them, we're happy.
Yeah. I like that you said that, because that's my thought as well. Like, this is a conflict, obviously, between Israel and Palestine, but the civilians, I would say most of the civilians on either side don't want war.
No,
they're just people living in that country.
The majority, brother.
Exactly. There is, like we said before, there is a lot of Jews that are pro-Palestine. So then to be attacking people just for their religion is not good, because you don't know what his thoughts are on the war. You shouldn't treat people bad because of where they originally come from, right?
That's right.
All right, well, good that we agree on that.
Yeah, 100%.
Let me see if we have anything else. I think I asked most of what I wanted to ask. Did you, because...
I give you a funny, a nice story about Jews and Palestinian. One of my sons-in-law, his name is Richard. It happened that he worked for a company in Bondi making bread and bagel company. And the owners, two owners, one Simon, one Charlie or Cherry, they partners and they friends. And they asked him to work for him to deliver bread. So they gave him a truck and he started delivering. They loved him so much. One day, after a couple of years or whatever years, the two of them come to some point of disagreement. And disagreement was, you will laugh at it. You not laugh, sorry. Was that one of them said, we need the rabbi to come and bless the factory. And the rabbi come, spend 5 minutes and take maybe, at the time, I'm talking 45 years ago, maybe $100 or whatever. So why we pay Rabbi $100 and we can survive without that? The two, one of them want the Rabbi, the other one doesn't want him. Simon didn't want the Rabbi, but I don't know if they hear it now. So they became angry and they start fighting, and it happened Richard was there. And he said, stop, Richard. Just a big boy. He was a bodybuilder. He must...
Like me.
Sorry. You are half his size. Yeah, so he was big boy. He said, stop, both of you. What do you want? You want this, you want that. So let's do a deal. Anyway, and during the conversation, they talked to each other. Wow, two Jews fighting and a Palestinian making a judge. He came and told me the story.
No, that is the way it should be, though, I think, people just getting along with whatever your religion or background is.
One of them used to come and have coffee with me once a week or twice a week. I used to have a shop in Hunters Hill, Delicatessen. Yeah.
Nice. My colleague, she mentioned that you had a certain story to tell, or is that a miscommunication? Because if so...
I did that in the beginning.
Oh, okay. That was what you wanted to say. All right. Is there anything else that you would like to tell the world?
I want to tell the world that the Israelis, including America and all these countries, to wake up before the Zionist organization destroys the world.
All right. Question. Because initially, I wanted to do this with someone from the Palestina side, in this case you, and someone from the Israel side, and me being in the middle, being like the neutral, try to keep it under control, because in that way you can have an actual debate. Now it's like I'm trying to defend the Israeli side, and when I'm interviewing the Jewish person, I'm trying to defend the Palestina side. But would you be down to do that? Have a debate with a Jewish person? Or conversation?
As I said before, if allow me to have a think about it.
Yeah.
Please.
All right.
Because as I said before, my wife is against me coming here.
Oh, yeah?
Because she believes that nothing will come out of this.
Well, that's my whole idea of this podcast, to raise awareness about the fact that people can have a normal conversation, even if they disagree. That's what I like to promote more, because nowadays, especially because of social media, people on the left, they stay in their little bubble, and people on the right stay on their little bubble, black, white, whatever you want to, they're all in their own little bubble, and they don't really have conversations anymore. And if there's a conversation, it's mostly yelling or, aggressive. And I want to show that there's still enough people in the middle with common sense that can have conversations even if they disagree, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree with you, and I appreciate that, and I'll be happy that even if some little percentage of the people who don't know the truth now will know the truth from this. I can tell you stories about my experience in life with the media and the government of Australia. One day I went to invite Mr. John Howard. He was top man. John Howard, I don't know if you heard of him. He was Prime Minister.
Okay, from Australia?
John Howard.
Oh, yeah, I've been in Australia for 2 years.
John Howard was a Prime Minister, and I lived in Gladesville, and where he lives, he had his office. And I went to invite him to open a business for me, childcare business. Anyway, so I went to invite him. He was happy, and everything went beautiful for nearly 15, 20 minutes. All of a sudden, he asked me where you were born. If he had said where you come from, I may say Jordan. But he said where you were. I had to answer the question, Palestine. He turned his face to me. He didn't want to speak to me. And he said things like leave.
How long ago was this?
32 years ago. 32 years ago. That was Mr. Howard, one of the leaders of Australia. They hated Palestine. Yeah. In the media, I give you a very funny story.
Go ahead.
One of my countrymen won the soccer pool. There was lottery.
Okay.
I'm talking about 48 years ago. One of my countrymen, his name was John Hanna in Arabic. He won the soccer pool lottery. At that time
As in
was
like he bet what the
he bet and won the first prize.
Right.
It was $528,000 at the time. At the time, you can buy 50 houses with that. So his mom, old lady, she called me because I was a bank officer, and she said, "Please help us to get the money." I said, "I'm busy with my work, but I'll try." So I called the soccer pool people. They Jewish. I respect them. And they said, "No, we have to do it in Melbourne on Channel 9 on Don Lane show." There was a show, they call it Don Lane. A man, he was doing a show, and because they do advertisement for the lottery, they introduce the man who win. They put him on the camera. They give him the check on the camera, which is a fake check. Anyway, so I said, I went back to make it brief. I went back to the family. I said to them, "You have to go to Melbourne." They said, "But we don't know good English. We need your help. You come with us." I said, "I can't. I'm working." Anyway, I thought I'd go to my boss. I said to my boss, I have a family, won 528,000, and they want me to help them to bring the money from Melbourne and bring them to the bank. And he was happy to bring 528,000 at the time. So he said, "Take 2 days off." And wait, he called the company, the soccer pool company. He said, "One of my men, his name's Chris Batshon, he's coming to pick with the people who won, and I want you to pay for the car to take him from home, for the aeroplane, for the hotel and everything," because it was 9:00 at night. So we went. They sat him in the camera, in front of the camera. They asked me to stand next to. I said, no, I'm not in it. I'm just coming to help him in translating whatever. I used to work for immigration too. So the first question he said to him before he put the microphone, he said, "I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Where you come from?" You say from Ashfield. Ashfield in Sydney. You know Ashfield?
Yeah.
And what's your name? You say, my name is John. Anyway, the man sat down, and they opened the thing, and he said to him, "What's your name?" "John Hanna." "Oh, and where you come from, John?" "From Palestine." The man forgot to say that he was from Ashfield. They closed the camera. Channel 9 closed the camera, brother. Do you believe that?
Was it
in front of me?
At the time, was it live or was it
live? Yeah.
Oh, it was live.
He asked him the question live.
Yeah, no, but I mean, were they broadcasting it live or was it?
No, broadcasting live. Yeah. And all the world, they saw that the people in Sydney, all my relatives, they're waiting for us to see us on TV because they put it on TV. They're waiting. Channel 9, they're putting Chris and John on TV. They thought that I would be there. But they saw John and the questions and then stopped.
Yeah.
They got angry.
So how did that go after?
They gave him the money and then we come back and put them in the bank. I helped them,
All right.
These are stories how we suffer.
Yeah. Chris, because we have been doing this for an hour and 15 minutes. I want to give the other side similar time to make it fair, So, I think we managed to get most of the questions done. So, Chris, I want to thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate that you wanted to join us today, and I hope that we can do this again and have a nice conversation.
You great man. I thank
so
you for
much.
having me and getting things out of my heart. And I hope that the Australian community will understand what I said.
Yeah. I hope that one day we can all live together, like you said in the beginning. That would be the dream goal.
Not only hope, I pray and hope, and God help us to have a peaceful world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we should all aspire
But
for.
if we don't have the truth and we need justice. United Nations is not, they just talk and put paper, and America veto that.
Yeah. Chris, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching part 1 with Chris. Stay tuned for part 2, where I will be interviewing the CEO of the Australian Jewish Association.